I think the beautiful thing about, they say the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection,
Yep.
and it's such an important piece, because when you take the substance away, you're in recovery, you take the substance away, then a lot of people find themselves bored, and then they need other people to hang out with, or they need other things to do. So I think it really fills that gap.
Yeah, there's something to be said about, especially I'm thinking back to early recovery. There's a feeling that you have, like, I know a lot of people will relate to this, like, what now? Like, I don't even know what I like to do. Like, I don't even know, I don't even know if I don't even know who I am. So there's that piece of, like, we really, like, the connection to ourselves. We lose all connection in any active addiction, but in recovery, it's all about that connection to yourself, to others, to the universe. Like, it's almost like you're a newborn, like getting connected to everything again. So yeah, there's something to be said about the connection piece, that you can you can find connection anywhere, but in a space like Phoenix, again, where you're going to have everyone, you have so many different perspectives, and it's refreshing, like, it's not just going to be the folks you go to the meeting with, or
Exactly. And it's, those communities are good too.
yes, they're
Then you
great.
get that they're all good, whatever path is good for you, whatever 12-step program, or whatever it is that works for you is great. But this is just one more tool in the toolbox, right?
Exactly. It
One more
doesn't
thing.
replace. Yes, exactly.
It's not an either or. We're not saying do this and
No.
not that. No, no, no. It's any combination of things. It's just there's lots of out there, and that's why we're doing this, and it's great supports for family members, as well as for those who are struggling to find their sobriety or maintain their recovery. So it's a great organization, and nationwide. All you got to do is go to their website at phoenix.org.
The phoenix.org, and we have an app that is,
Mm-hmm.
I plug the app because it's so easy to use. The
Mm-hmm.
website's cool, but it's not like the app. Like, there's like a whole community on there that you can access, which is it's pretty spectacular. Like, I have never seen anything like that before. So
Yeah, there's different groups, and you can interact with other people that are
yeah,
there, and this tells you all the activities, the whole schedule of events, and that's how you register for the
yeah,
events, and you get descriptions of what's going on and a whole calendar of events. So
so
lots
easy to
going on.
use.
And I'm sure it's probably every state's a little bit different. I mean,
Yeah.
um, but you have to find what's going on, you know, in your particular state, but it's definitely something to work to look into. There's
People will ask too, why don't we have this? And I'm like, you haven't signed up to become a volunteer yet.
yeah,
This only works through, it's a movement, like, it's not here because we have people working for the Phoenix. We're just here to support and, keep things kind of moving. But the heart of the movement is volunteers and folks who want to be a part of this community. So without volunteers, we really we don't have Phoenix. So there's something, it's important talk to touch on.
you're the only employee we have here in all
Yeah.
and you got a lot going on. You do a lot. Excuse me. So one question, Lee, that I've been asking all of our guests, either from a personal or professional standpoint, is how is something all family members or just people close to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a family member or whatever, any person in a support system. We all want to know, we have a loved one that's struggling with addiction. How can we help in a truly meaningful way? What advice would you give to people who are closest to them? Maybe what worked for you, what didn't, or what supports do you wish you had, or anything like that?
That's a really good question. I don't think we ask people enough. That's not up until now, I have not heard that question. So this is great. We need this. Like, these are the kinds of conversations we should be having these kinds of conversations with our loved ones who might be struggling or might be seeking recovery or might be curious, but like, how can I show up for you in the way that supports you? And that it's simple. I think it's going to be individual, and that not everyone is going to have the same outlook on what support means to them. So some people might want, some real firm boundaries and like, let me do my recovery over here and don't ask me about it. And other folks might want their family members to come to meetings with them or come to a Phoenix event with them. I think it's going to vary based on the individual. And that's where like the beauty of like where it's not a monolith. So like we don't all live in like this bubble of like, this is what recovery is and it's one size fits all. It's not. And support is the same thing. And for family, it's the same thing. Like it's going to look different for everyone. No, I don't think no two people are going to look or think of support as the same thing. So I think just asking and having conversations with the folks we want to support or be there for.
Oh. So it's yeah, I've heard it said that it's so beautifully that there's as many reasons why people turn to substances in the first place as there are people.
Yeah.
So if you think it's just all there is so many different approaches to recovery. So what works for one doesn't work for all. So you're saying you really couldn't tell anybody that the best person to ask is your loved one.
Yeah, I think, and that's the beauty of asking that question. It goes a long way. It goes a long way because you're not imposing what you think on someone, and they can really just tell you, and sometimes they might not even know. They might not even know. I know that when I first started on this journey, I didn't know. I didn't know how anyone could show up for me. I had to like figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
So along the way, I think that changes too.
Oh,
it looks different year over year, or day over day. Even things change, people change. We all evolve and grow. So I think over time, that's something that you might get like a snapshot of this is what it looks like today, and like 5 years from now, it'll look like something completely different. So
no, so it's an evolving thing, and just keep the conversation open. Probably what's really important, because that is something we teach for sure, is open-ended. How you have the conversations can be very powerful. So,
Yep.
did you go to a meeting? Did you drink last night? Those are the kind of questions they're used to getting, right?
Did you call your sponsor? Like, what?
It's just like, but maybe more probing questions. And I think it's really interesting advice is ask permission before asking a question. Do you mind if I ask you? I think that just kind of takes the whole, I don't know, it takes the edge off the being, I think it makes people might be more open to having a conversation if you ask me first if I want to have a conversation. I mean, it's like things we don't think of to do, but there's very small nuances that are very meaningful and impactful.
I agree. I think asking like that's, do you want to have this conversation right now? No.
Yeah. That could go a long way.
That's the most basic thing.
Yeah, and that can go a long way. It shows respect.
Yeah.
The person.
Like you're really checking in on like the space that they can hold too,
Right. Especially if you're living with that person. There's probably been could be years of conflict and fighting and arguing and all sorts of, it's like, and really to kind of break out of that habit and try to approach conversations with that person differently.
Yeah.
Communication skills are very, very important.